Hey everybody, what's going on? Today I'm going to be creating this poster using Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop. It's going to be a concert poster for a Vanessa Carlton concert that I went to back in 2002. Let's get started. So full disclosure here, this is not actually for a Vanessa Carlton concert. It's actually for a Goo Goo Dolls concert, but it's a concert that Vanessa Carlton opened for. So I've been listening to her a lot lately. We just took a road trip down to Georgia, and I've made a playlist of all of her music, and up until that point I had only listened to maybe a few songs of hers, and I've always really liked them. But in listening to her music, there's just a lot of great music there, and she's really evolved a lot as an artist. So I got a couple of ideas. I think I've got something that I'm going to be doing here, and I got some inspiration from these two books. I can't see myself right now, so hopefully you can see these books. This book right here, The Designer's Dictionary of Type, that's a great book to flip through and get some ideas from. And then also Grid Systems in Graphic Design. If you're a designer, you definitely need to pick this one up because it lays out all kinds of different designs and all kinds of different grid systems that you can implement in your designs, and it's really, really good stuff. So as you can see right here, I actually have a grid system set up here. It's pretty basic, but what I like to do is I like to divide things in kind of sections, using odd numbers. So we've got 3 columns and 5 rows down, and I have this general idea of what to do. There was this idea that I had, and I'm gonna see if I can actually bring it to fruition in this poster. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get started here. So concert posters in general, they typically don't have a ton of information on them, and what I'm wanting to do is very similar to Swiss salon design, and you want to find a good way to balance the information that's in there, and usually there's a pretty good amount of content on there, but we'll be able to put some content on there. So let's just see what we can do here. One of the things that I wanted to do here, one of the things I realized about her name is there's an uppercase E in it. Well, she plays the piano, so I'm hoping to see if I can implement some kind of piano imagery using that E. So let's see what we can do. And for the side here, or the size, I'd like it to be pretty good size and nice bold typography. So I'm going to go up here, make sure this is aligned to the left, and I'd like for this to go maybe slightly off of the edge. And let's see what we can do in terms of this. So I'm going to just kind of see what I can do here in terms of placement. And let's get the size about to where I want. I think that what I'm going to do is I think that I'll leave some room so that I can leave a little bit of space at the bottom. Okay, let's go. You know what? Let's try this. Maybe just a hair. Okay, I like that. Yeah, it's slightly bleeding off the edge of the paper, but you can still read it. All right, so we need to create a little bit of negative space here. You know what? I think I'm just gonna pull this all the way up to that grid line. And I'm pretty happy with the kerning. Let me take a look at the kerning real quick, and I can see it better if I just do this. So I'm gonna maybe bring this in just a hair, not too much. There we go. And then that's good, like that. Maybe bring this out a little bit, just a touch. You don't want them to be touching each other, but you want them to be, comfortable. And I think that that's good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set this aside and just create a copy of it. That way, if I have to go back to it, I can very easily. So I'm going to rotate this, not 45 degrees, I'm going to do 90 degrees. All right, So let's align it all the way to the edge, and then let's take it that much off of the edge, just a little bit. Not so much to where it's obvious, but just maybe a little. Actually, you know what? Why not do it to where it's obvious? I think that, okay, let's do that. That's good. 1/8 of an inch off is good. So now we will bring this all the way to our grid line, which is going to be right at 22.5. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of the E, and what we're going to do is I'm going to recreate this E, but it's going to be a little bit different. The concept that I'm wanting to do, you know, obviously you're wanting to make some kind of negative space here. So I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to recreate this just using some shapes. Let me lower the opacity of this so I can see a little bit better what I'm doing. Okay, bring this around here. Maybe to about right there. I think that's good. And so that we can kind of maintain the aesthetic of a piano, I'm actually going to have that middle bar come all the way. Okay, actually before I do a pathfinder on that, I should probably do this. Let's copy it, because what I'm wanting to do. Oh, that's interesting. What if I did that? I think I may have gotten an idea here. Let's take a look. Let's go to Google Images really quick and take a look at piano keys. So we've got black negative space. We got two black lines in negative space and 3 black lines in negative space. So what if we did something like this, where we repeat Vanessa Carlton maybe, I don't know, just a small handful of times. Let's see how many times we can repeat it without it getting obnoxious. And let's get rid of this E right here. Bring this over here. And get rid of one of those. You know what? I think I'm just doing this wrong in general. Let's see. Okay, two black bars, 3 black bars. So let's go ahead and grab. I'm just going to copy here. Oh shoot! I didn't mean to do that. Let's just copy the image and bring it directly in here. That way I can actually see what I'm doing. Okay, so we've got 3 bars, and then 2 bars. Sorry if I'm using the wrong terminology here for all of you music people out there. I'm just calling them bars. I know that they're notes, but I'm calling them bars for the sake of the video. What if I just left it like that? That's interesting. Okay. I think I like that. So if we were to to make it obvious that we're going with pianos, I think we're going to have to, here, let's group all this together real quick, and then we'll group these together. That way we can space it out a little bit more accurately to what a piano would look like. So let's let's go all the way over. Okay, I think that's good right there. Okay, that's good. And then we'll just repeat it. Okay, what we're going to do is we'll find the width, which, okay, so 0.375 plus whatever the width is, okay? 3.7332, and then just hit copy. All right, that way our spacing is consistent. Okay, we're good there. Okay, I think that's interesting actually. So we've got Vanessa Carlton showing down the side, but then we've also got the E taking the piano keys taking the place of the E's, and it's obvious here that it's the piano keys. So I like that. Okay. Now we've got a little bit of additional information that we can put in here. There's not too much that we can put in because, you know, concert posters generally are not loaded with tons of information, even about the artist itself. It's more about the venue. So let's go ahead and get this info. I've got this info right here. This is when the concert actually took place. So let's utilize our grid. Let's probably bring this down, maybe something like light or regular, depending on what size we do. Divide that by 4 so we can actually stick with some kind of mathematic formula going on here. All right, so September 2nd, 2002, but let's see, how do I want to, you know, one thing I see a lot in Swiss design is something like this, and I'm going to keep it at the American system because it happened in the United States. And I think I'm going to maybe cut that. So let's maybe put it right here. Align it perfectly to the grid, and let's get this to optical alignment there. I think that we may need to bold this up a little bit now that I'm looking at it. So let's just set it to regular bold, and let's set the leading to maybe around, I think 50 is good, and give it some breathing room there. And then pull this down. And South Amphitheater. What do you think? Should we go? Let's see, we've already done all caps for her name right there. Maybe we can balance it out by doing, oops, there we go. Balance it out by doing all lowercase. Okay, and I had thought about possibly, let's see, what if we brought this down here? I think this might help to balance it out a little bit better. Of course, there's all kinds of ways you can do this, but I'm just going to choose this way. I like aligning these things to the grid. This is something that when I first started in design, I hated having to use grids, but they really do help, and there's a reason that they help. So I know that this is this particular show was actually a Goo Goo Dolls show, and who else was there? Goo Goo Dolls, and it was Third Eye Blind. So what if we do this? Let's add a little bit of humor with special guests Goo Goo Dolls and Third Eye Blind. So we'll keep this maybe up here, a little bit closer to the top, and then we'll take the size of these down just a little bit. Okay. Obviously, Goo Goo Dolls and Third Eye Blind are bigger than Vanessa Carlton, but you know, and she was the opening act for both. But the idea for the typography came because of Vanessa Carlton. So in this particular fantasy world of poster design, she is the headliner. All right, so I like this, and I'm thinking that we'll probably add in just maybe a few geometric shapes. Again, this is, you know, all off the cuff. This is not for any kind of client work or anything like that. So it's not like I'm spending an enormous amount of time on this, but I still want it to look good. So what if we did something like that, 3.5, maybe? I think that's a good size, yeah. And for Vanessa, I mean, there's not really any particular colors that jump out to me. I like the idea of keeping it black and white, or at least grayscale, because of pianos, you know, black and white. So let's move this maybe, I don't know, 1 inch? No, maybe not 1 inch. Let's go maybe 1/2 inch down. And swap the fill in the stroke. Okay, that's interesting. Although there's something about it that's not really adding too much to it. Maybe if we do something like this, you know, go back to that and maybe lower the opacity for each one. One, two, three. How many do we have? We have 3? Yeah, we've got 3. Okay, and then every time we add another one, we maybe drop the opacity down a little bit more. Okay, that's at least a little bit more interesting. Oh, that's pretty cool. But I think that the solid shapes probably are going to work better for this. I think that they're a little bit too close together. Those are a little bit too far apart. So let's maybe bring it down. I think I like that. So why don't we do this? And because I do this, I may, well, let's see, let's do this. Let's grab all these and rotate it. Since all of our text is in the middle and the bottom, we'll just align it to those grid lines. And then we'll evenly distribute them. I think that's good. We'll do, maybe with this, we'll do something like 30%. And maybe we'll do like 10, 20, that's 30, and then we'll bring it up to 40, and then maybe 50. It's not quite as dramatic though, so why don't we do this? Why don't we do, I'd like to keep this around 30. So maybe, let's see, what is this, 80? And then we'll do, you know what, let's do this. We'll add, each one we'll add 20. Okay, so 30, and then this will go down to 10, and then this will go down to maybe like 5 or something like that. That way you can still see a little outline of it. Okay, I like that. And I just want to make sure that there's no other alignment that I like with this before I call this done, at least in terms of the vector art. I wonder if maybe, because we're kind of missing something on the bottom here. What if we did the piano keys at the bottom too? I don't know if that would be too much, but we can at least try it and see. Okay. All right, so okay, 2. Well, we'll start off with 3. Then we'll grab this right here, bring it over. Copy. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. How did that happen? Let's see, 1.65 plus 0.375. We need to probably do a 1/2 inch. Oh, come on. What is going on? There we go. The struggles of being a designer. All of these things that you don't mean to do, and yet you do them over and over and over again. I'm sure anyone that's a designer out there can relate. Okay. Let me take a look here. Okay, so now that we have that on the bottom, I think that it would work if this were a little bit lighter. So let's bring this down 30, and we'll top it off at 50. So top it off at 50, 30, bring this down to 20, this down to 10, that down to 5. I think that's good. Okay, so the composition there, I think it works. And even the fact that it doesn't go all the way to the side, I think that even works. But we could also try this. Let's group all of this together and then align it to the center. Or we could align it to this. I think that works a little bit better. That way the piano keys are going a little bit off of the paper along with her name, and that we still are maintaining that piano key aesthetic as we're going across here. You know, one of the things that I just realized, I wonder, you know, these are the kind of things that you just want to try just to see if it'll work. I wonder if we went down in opacity each time by 10. I think that helps to kind of soften it up a little bit. We still have that aesthetic of the keys going across, so I think that might be a good idea. And since we've got Vanessa Carlton's the first name here is in black, and then the next one goes down to 90. What if the rest of them were also at 90%? It might help to kind of soften it up just a little bit. That way it's not too harsh. I'm not actually doing anything, all right. Am I? Sorry. All right, so 70. What if we brought that down to 70? Oh yeah, that's still very legible, and I think that works really well. Okay, good. So we've got a 70 contrast against a 30 contrast. All right. I think that is good. Let's bring it into Photoshop and let's do some stuff with it. So I'm going to export this simply because it's going off of the screen like that. So let's put it on the desktop where apparently everything else is right now. And you know what, I'm going to do full resolution here. Okay, so let's go to our desktop. What did I call that? It was just artboard 1. Okay. All right, so full resolution. I'm gonna go ahead and close these out because I don't need them. All right, let's go to maybe, let's see, design resources. So I've got some interesting things we can do here for texture, and I'm thinking of using this glued paper here. I've used this a few times, and I really like the aesthetic that it brings. Let's do this, and then I'll maybe rotate it around. So let's drag this on top, rotate it around. That looks a lot better. And then we'll bring, oh, stupid mouse. I don't know what's going on with the mouse. I don't know if it's the mouse or the computer, but I keep on running into problems like that where I'll try to click on something or move it somewhere and it moves somewhere else entirely. So I don't know what's going on there. All right, let's cycle through the blending modes and see which one is going to be best for this. Typically, as I said in my last video, overlay usually gives me the best results for what I'm wanting to do. However, with such a light background like this, as part of the texture, that's generally not the case. So Difference is usually pretty good. Exclusion is sometimes pretty good depending on what we're doing, and I like that. So actually I think subtract may work a little bit better because it's really showing the texture in those darker areas. But I want to make sure, well, that's interesting. I want to make sure that it's not too much because we want the focus on it to be the actual artwork. And from what I'm seeing, I don't think this is going to work that well. So let's try something else. Maybe some aged paper. Let's see. This might be nice. Let's try this out. Bring this in. And because we want to maintain that black and white aesthetic, I will go ahead and desaturate this. And really all I'm wanting to do is I'm wanting just the texture to show against all of the artwork in general. So I think that might be good right there. And then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and go into the curves and bring some of that darkness back. And I just want it to be nice and subtle. So it doesn't have to be crazy, over the top or anything. Just nice, subtle texture that we've got going on here. All right. I think I'm pretty happy with this. Let me try something. Last time I added that Gaussian blur to the end, and I think that it really did something there, and I think I'm going to do the same thing here. I know it's not typical in Swiss design to do any kind of blurs or anything like that, but I'm not necessarily here going, this isn't client work, so this is something that I'm wanting to kind of maintain the aesthetic of it, kind of making it look like it was done on actual paper. So that Gaussian blur combined with the texture overlay or the pattern overlay does a really good job of kind of lending to that fact that it looks like it was printed on paper. So I think I'm going to stick to that. And there we go. There is the finished piece. Thanks a lot for watching and following along on today's poster video. If you like this, please hit like and subscribe. That way more of these videos can come directly to you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.